And following the accusations levied against Judge Kavanaugh by Christine Blasey Ford, the Trump administration surprisingly, and at least it surprised the hell out of me, approved and ordered the FBI to look into the allegations made by Dr. Ford. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, good, we finally get the investigation. That's what we were calling for the whole time, a fair investigation by the FBI. Well, it turns out that that investigation is actually very limited in scope. Limited to 1 week, and apparently also limited to the people that the FBI could actually talk to. Now, in a new report written in The New Yorker by Ronan Farrow and Jane Meyer, so those are two people that worked on some of the recent sex scandal stories, events against Harvey Weinstein, and many others. In fact, Ronan Farrow, I gave him a lot of praise, well-deservedly so, for some of the stuff that he had to do in order to get that that Weinstein feature published. And he had to pay for his own camera crew. He was threatened, of course, by people in power, lost his job, and moved over to The New Yorker. Now, he and Meyer write together that the FBI investigation that was spurred on by, of course, Jeff Flake, is extremely limited in scope and is now ignoring a lot of potential witnesses against Kavanaugh that would just add credibility to Ford's allegations. Now, according to Farrow and Meyer, several people who would hope to contribute information about him to the FBI said that they have been unable to make contact with FBI agents. Now, you would think that if somebody has a tip, or that if somebody has information in this incredibly high-profile case, that the FBI would go, okay, yes, come talk to us. We're open to doing an investigation. We've got a week, so let's, you got information, you want to share it, we're there. We're there. Well, that's not what's happening. And President Trump did promise, oh, no, free reign. You can have free reign. But the New York Times had reported on Saturday that that is not the case, that they actually did not get free reign, and they had asked that the FBI question only 4 witnesses. Now, earlier today, and this is just breaking as at the time of this broadcast, Trump said, oh, okay, no, never mind, go ahead and ask anybody. So basically, they admit that we only want you to talk to 4 different people instead of so many others. And it took, of course, the, failing fake news New York Times to put out a story that says, actually, that's not true, for the Trump administration to actually change and say, okay, you can talk to anybody, not just these 4 different people. Okay. So now that we have that context, let's go into those 4 people. Well, okay, before we get into the 4 people, though, we've got more from the story. Now, some of those witnesses say they have information relevant to the FBI's probe, are suspicious that the investigation will amount to what one of Kavanaugh's former Yale classmates called a, quote, whitewash. Roberta Kaplan, an attorney representing one potential witness, Elizabeth Razor. Now, she's very, very important because she is a former girlfriend of Kavanaugh's high school friend, Mark Judge. Mark Judge, the guy who actually hasn't testified yet. Now, she said that her client has, quote, repeatedly made clear to the Senate Judiciary Committee and to the FBI that she would like the opportunity to speak to them. But, quote, we've received no substantive response. Now, that's of yesterday, right? Now, Kaplan said early this past week that she began reaching out to the FBI and to the Senate Judiciary Committee on Razor's behalf. Quote, she feels a sense of civic duty to tell what she knows. But the only response we've gotten are emails saying that our emails have been received. At one point, she said an FBI official suggested she tried calling an 800 number telephone tip line. Hey, I've got information about Kavanaugh that is extremely important and relevant to the investigation. Yeah, call our tip line. But I'm talking to you right now. Yeah, call our tip line. Yeah, we're not interested in looking into it. Just call the tip line. And then we may or may not get back to you. Don't know. There's more. Deborah Katz, the lead attorney for Ford, also said that her client, too, had been willing to cooperate with the FBI's investigation But as of Sunday, the FBI had not contacted her. Quote, "We've tried repeatedly to speak to the FBI, but heard nothing back." Now remember, they only got a week. Again, they want to wrap this thing up by Friday so they can immediately get to a confirmation vote. They're in a rush. They're in a rush. Now, the FBI officials, interestingly enough, told Katz to contact the White House. Well, wait a minute. The White House says we're not involved in this investigation. They have free reign. We didn't tell them to do anything. No. Why are you referring questions back to us? You're the FBI. You're supposed to be doing the investigation. Well, why would the FBI refer you to the White House unless the White House has something to do with the investigation and is trying to micromanage this? That doesn't look like free reign. That looks like political cover-up. Now, to give you more context into who Razor is and why she's important, why her testimony is very important to the character of Mark Judge, she had dated Judge off and on for 2 to 3 years while they were students at Catholic University. Now, she's a public school teacher now in New York, and after hearing Judge's denials, she came forward offering to give a sworn statement to the FBI, challenging Judge's credibility. According to Kaplan, the FBI has so far shown no interest in hearing what she has to say, and efforts to contact the Bureau have gone nowhere. And she is not the only one. A Yale classmate attempting to corroborate Deborah Ramirez's account that during her freshman year at Yale, Kavanaugh thrust his penis in her face at a drunken party, said that he too had struggled unsuccessfully to reach the FBI. The classmate, who was asked to remain anonymous, recalled hearing about Ramirez's allegation either the night it happened or the following 2 days. The classmate said he was, quote, 100% certain that he had heard an account that was practically identical to Ramirez's 35 years ago, but the two had never spoken about it. Now look, that could be a good tip, or it might be something else. Again, it is a long time ago, to be fair, and sometimes people's memories are hazy, especially when it comes to drinking. Now, but he is absolutely certain, so he should definitely get interviewed by the FBI. The FBI should actually look into it. But are they doing that? No. At least, not right now. Now, and again, that account itself is vague, but it would also add to the mounting evidence that other people had said, yes, that this had happened. We heard about that story. We heard that it happened. And here, more people are going to testify that we do think that indeed that happened. Okay, there's more. Now, let's see. Here's his experience with the FBI, by the way. Now, he had hoped to convey this to the FBI, but when he reached out to a bureau and official in Washington, D.C., he was told to contact the FBI field office nearest to his home. When he tried that, he was referred to a recording. After several attempts to reach a live person at the field office, he finally did reach an official who apparently had no idea what he was talking about. At this point, he said he went back to an official at the FBI's D.C. headquarters, who then referred him to an anonymous 1-800 number tip line. This classmate, talking about the runaround that he received, said, quote, "I thought this was going to be an investigation. But instead, it seems like it's just an alibi for Republicans to vote for Kavanaugh." And he says that he has been in touch with other classmates who also wanted to provide information corroborating Ramirez's account, but they had not done so. And honestly, why would you if the FBI is not going to take this seriously? And that seems to be what's going on. Now, there's more. On Sunday, a second Yale classmate, Charles Ludington, released a statement accusing Kavanaugh of blatantly mischaracterizing his college drinking during his testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee last week. So, look, that's one of the things that Kavanaugh has likely lied about, among many other things, especially there was his drinking, and then there was also Renata, the Renata alumnist, and so on, right? So now this man, Ludington, said that Kavanaugh often grew belligerent and aggressive when drunk, and that he had planned to share his information with the FBI. He said, quote, I can unequivocally say that in denying the possibility that he ever blacked out from drinking, and in downplaying the degree and frequency of his drinking, Brett has not told the truth. So that is very strong, basically saying he is lying. He said, also, I felt it was my civic duty to tell of my experience while drinking with Brett. And I offer the statement to the press. I have no desire to speak further publicly and nothing more to say to the press at this time. I will, however, take my information to the FBI. Now, he said, according to the Times, Ludington, a professor at North Carolina State University, said the FBI's D.C. field office had told him to go to the Bureau's Raleigh, North Carolina field office on Monday if he wished to speak with agents. Ludington said, I will do so and tell the full details of my story. So, now, okay. Now, so here's the thing. There's a lot of people apparently very, very willing to be interviewed by the FBI. Now, to those who say, oh, they're probably just making it up. Well, you think being interviewed by the FBI is awesome? No, it sucks. In fact, they keep citing their civic duty. Well, what does that mean? Basically, it means like, look, we know this guy. We've, either been friends with him or we went to school with him. We saw him at these parties. We know this guy. We've seen him. And the person that he is presenting himself as to the country is not the person that we know. That is not the Brett Kavanaugh we grew up with. That's not the person we partied with. Here's what the truth is. And so the reason that it's civic duty, they feel, is like, look, you're lying to the country. We just want to tell the truth. And why is Brett Kavanaugh lying? Because that's what he does. He's very wealthy, entitled, and he has gotten to his positions through deception. He is an unbelievable liar. And is incredibly partisan, by the way, which you're not actually supposed to be so nakedly, openly partisan when you're going for a Supreme Court justice position. So there is that as well. But look, what about the people who the FBI originally was going to interview, right? The 4 different people. Well, according to the Times, the 4 witnesses approved by the White House were P.J. Smith, another high school friend of Kavanaugh's, Leland Kaiser, a friend of Ford's, and Ramirez. Now, I believe you also have Judge, right? Mark Judge. Now, lawyers for Smith and Kaiser have issued statements saying that their clients will cooperate with the investigation, though Kaiser's told CBS that she will tell the FBI that she does not know Kavanaugh or remember the party where Ford's alleged assault took place. Kaiser has also stressed, however, that she believes Ford and does not refute her testimony. So, and PJ also was there supposedly at the party, but didn't actually know what went on. Didn't actually see the alleged assault. So that seems really convenient for Judge Kavanaugh. Because again, Kaiser Smith didn't say anything. According to Ford's own account, they were downstairs the entire time. How would they have known? No, what they should be doing is they should be talking to Judge's ex-girlfriend. Now, I understand, too, that maybe she might have a grudge against him, right? But, hey, that's why they should talk to her, to see if she is telling the truth. Because, again, this is really relevant to Judge's credibility as a character witness for Brett Kavanaugh. It is really, really important that they talk to her. Now, she said, quote, that under normal circumstances, I wouldn't reveal information that was told in confidence, but I can't stand by and watch him lie. She recounted that Judge had told her ashamedly of an incident that involved him and other boys taking turns having sex with the same drunk woman. Now, here's the thing. So, going back to Julie Swetnick, who also came out and said Kavanaugh was present, Judge was also there at parties where boys would line up and do trains on unconscious drunk women. Now, what does present mean? Was he involved or wasn't he? Maybe that's something you need to talk about. Maybe that's something you need to look into. They should absolutely talk to Racer. Because maybe, they'll find something that, again, corroborates Julie Swetnick and her testimony as well. And again, they should talk to Julie Swetnick as well. All that stuff needs to be looked into. But what I see from this report is, unfortunately, the FBI investigation that, look, I myself have been advocating for through this entire process since these allegations came up, seems to unfortunately be tightly leashed by the White House and basically a way for, politicians and the president to protect someone who may or may not be a sexual predator. But, of course, is indeed, minus that, an incredible liar. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.